let's jump straight into the next story. And the next story is going to be, it's mostly going to be on the vibe that was coming out of the media about the National Party conference was, oh yeah, bit boring, didn't have the same energy. You know, perhaps they're in government now, so they got their main job done. But as you can see, if you're watching us, this video is nearly 4 minutes long, and the first 45 seconds we're talking about the conference, and the next 3 minutes we're talking about Karen Chhour. So Karen Chhour is still high in the headlines. Let's have a look to see what was mentioned on the news, and then I want to show you what the ACT Party has been saying about how they treat women over the last sort of 12 months.
But many national ministers are concerned about their colleague, Karen Chhour, who said this week she feels unsafe and bullied at Parliament.
The unfortunate reality is that some women get a really hard time in Parliament, and it's got to stop. It's really not on.
Yeah. I mean, she doesn't feel safe coming to work. That's problematic, isn't it, if you're a minister?
It's absolutely atrocious. I think she's a fantastic minister, and I'm doing what I can to support her.
I rang her to say okay.
Yeah. What did she say?
Well, it's been a pretty tough time.
Yeah.
The ACT Party ministers fronting some of the government's most controversial policies.
Obviously, we're making some controversial changes.
It's not just the ACT Party, it is actually Karen Chhour. Like, not trying to minimise her, like she's not strong enough to do it, but she has really thrown in the deep end, having to take some responsibility for some of the things that many consider the ugliest things that ACT's doing, like 7AA, for example. So, you know, it's not just kind of, the controversial bills. It's like at least one of the most controversial bills, and she's got to kind of bear that on her shoulders and the flack she gets back for it.
Changes around Section 7AA, and she's making some controversial changes to Oranga Tamariki. But
well, again, see, do you want to throw her on the bus? She's making some controversial changes to Oranga Tamariki. She is, or the government is. Even that wording, like, is that important? Actually, to be honest, is that important? That Bishop just said this is her. She's doing it. Isn't that kind of the problem here?
Its most controversial policies.
Obviously, we're making some controversial changes around Section 7AA, and she's making some controversial changes to Oranga Tamariki. But I just hope the debate focuses on policies rather than personalities.
Te Pāti Māori believe the moves will seriously harm Māori and have called Karen Chhour a puppet and referenced her upbringing in state care, leading to her making complaints.
So do you have concerns for the well-being of the Children's Minister, Karen Chhour?
Yeah, look, I just want to acknowledge it is a very robust environment in Parliament, and we should be able to discuss big issues very robustly. It's also important that there is respect and care that takes place as well.
It's clear that she feels unsafe at Parliament at the moment. I mean, you've got a duty of care as Prime Minister. Should she be coming to Parliament?
My office has reached out to her and the ACT Party and making sure she's got the support that she needs.
The Prime Minister leaving it to his coalition partner to look after his minister.
So that's the basic conversation, but this is one of the things I wanted to show. This actually came up in the chat last week when we were talking about this, and I went and found it because I think it's important for us to mention. Because look, I'll ask you outright, Chewy, do you agree we should clean up the toxic workspace that is Parliament?
100%.
100% as well. Everyone watching, 100%. We agree. What we want them to do is to be honest about it, though. David Seymour promises to improve ACT culture as more concerns are raised. Tova O'Brien on June the 10th, 2024. It's not that long ago. I'm not going to read it all, but I'll give you a couple of snippets from it. This is David Seymour also questioned whether the allegations raised by several sources close to the party were true. Quote, I suspect that those reports are possibly not accurate. Further sources have since come forward echoing some of the concerns raised, including what they saw as egotistical and catty behaviour on parts of the campaign and a culture of exclusion. And if you weren't in Seymour's inner circle. Seymour was dismissive of the new concerns. Quote, I just think a lot of speculation has been given far too much airtime, frankly, end quote. Seymour told Stuff after the ACT Party's annual rally for supporters. Stuff has been reporting that some volunteers and candidates on the last election felt used. They said they were regularly left in tears and felt a culture of fear took over their campaign when problems started arising with candidates. Stuff was also leaked a recording from an ACT Party committee meeting held in Auckland in March, in which two respected volunteers quit and expressed no confidence in the board and raised concerns about the party's treatment of women. Asked to respond to the resignation, Seymour replied that those former volunteers were giving some of the loudest cheers in the front row of the rally, and he was happy to deal with anyone having issues in the party. I'm always open to talking to people and working through problems. We're committed to improving our culture. I'm very proud of the party that I've led. I actually think it has become, on balance, a good place for women. Asked if it was concerning that some women felt that they were treated unfairly on the campaign, Seymour handed over to the party's 3 senior women MPs. And you'll notice in the photo, one of those 3 would be Karen Chhour, which is what someone in the chat said last week, that she was standing behind him when they were having this conversation, which sparked me to have a look at this. And the last paragraph I'll read was, of course, from Brooke Van Velden, who in a very sort of wasp way said, ACT Deputy Leader Brooke Van Velden said, no way. It's impossible to say that ACT has a problem with women when it elected a 27-year-old young Liberal woman deputy leader. Now, I just wanted to bring...
that's bad.
I wanted to bring the full story to this Karen Chhour toxic workplace thing, because I don't recall, and I've had a bit of a look around, a heck of a lot of support coming from that side of the aisle when people like Kerry Allen, Marama, Jacinda, these people were mentioning it and talking about it last year. In fact, what I think I remember doing is having interviews with people, I don't know if it was exactly Brooke Van Velden, but in that side of the politics going, oh no, I find it quite fine around Parliament. I find there's no problems at all. And then all of a sudden when it's one of yours, all of a sudden there's a great deal of concern. Now, this is not a way to attack the victim. We've said it very clearly that this is not appropriate, should not be happening to the victim and for ACT, to Karen Chhour. But it is, if we're going to have this conversation, let's at least start with a fucking honest beginning, shall we? Chewy.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to comment on Luxon's weak fucking tea comment about how Parliament's there for robust debate. Absolutely. What do you believe is robust debate? Like, what's robust? What's too robust for Parliament?
Yeah.
You know, and he mentioned robust twice before he mentioned respect. Like, it's just, he's a shitty leader. It's just so weak. And Seymour, again, in that story that you just read, you are the leader, my dude.
Yeah.
You don't need to go, oh, there's a tricky question. Here's 3 women I've found to answer it.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
the leader. Answer it. And then Brooke's answer, I'm here so there's nothing wrong, is the weakest of the weak comments. Racism doesn't exist because there's a brown person here. This person made it. That's all good. Women don't have any problem.
I'm not homophobic. There's a gay person in the bridge club I go to.
Wow.